Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Crowd is here, about to blow, waiting for me to start the show. Out the curtain, lights go up from home. Whoa!
Clock is running with 20 seconds to go. The Packers out in front by 25 points, and this is the first Super Bowl. 10 seconds to go. The Packers standing around, not willing to get off another play necessarily. The Kansas City Chiefs are willing to walk to the sideline, and the Kansas City Chiefs, many of them, are walking toward the Green Bay Packers. Cheryl Hedrick shaking the hand of Bart Starr. All of them have come over and are talking to the Packers. That's the end of the game with the final score. Green Bay 35 and Kansas City 10. We'll be back in a moment with the final wrap-up of today's game.
I'll take things that make me smile for $500, Alex. Outstanding. The final call of what is known as Super Bowl I, the first AFL NFL World Championship game in all of professional American football. It was played on January 15th, 1967, the L.A. Memorial Coliseum. The NFL champion Green Bay Packers defeated the AFL champion Kansas City Chiefs by the score of 35-10. There are 4 of those big silver trophies here in Green Bay, and so the 4 days leading up to the Super Bowl this weekend will remind you of just how good we have it here in Green Bay.
I love that.
What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in Inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Credit to that guy for that great call.
Yeah. Credit to history.
Awesome. What I found interesting was the Chiefs were like, you know what? To hell with it. We're just going to walk towards you guys and, hey, we're good.
It's like, I was curious when I'm listening to that. I'm like, so is that where with time remaining on the clock, the teams just run to each other to congratulate and shake hands? Does the tradition existed all the way back then? That was it?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, 35-10 seconds left on the clock.
Sure.
The Chiefs sound like they had the ball, and they're like, we're just going to go to the locker room.
Yeah, let's call it. Let's call it, huh?
Good stuff. January 15th. Max McGee, have a game, brother. The first touchdown catch he had, a 57-yard touchdown from Bart Starr. The MVP, Bart Starr. I think his MVP trophy, which is a convertible, is here in Green Bay at a museum in downtown Green Bay, a car museum. It's really neat. That 70s show, that car is there now too.
Oh, really?
It's the Automobile Gallery is what it's called. I'm not a car guy. Like, I don't, that's a 1967, this, that, blah, blah, blah. No idea.
Yeah.
I can barely tell you what a Chevy Silverado looks like, but.
Well, you should probably be able
to. I'm just saying, I don't know how to identify vehicles.
Sure.
You ever met one of those guys that's, oh, man, that's 57 Chevelle.
Yeah.
That's a 73 Fire. Okay.
Yeah,
I believe you.
And you know what's the funniest about those people? You never hear everyone go, oh, that's a 2002 Corolla. Like,
what a year.
There definitely became a point where car lovers were like, all right, that's it. Anything newer than, the turn of the set, that's it. There's nothing cool anymore. That's where it's dying.
That is an amazing Jeep Wagoneer. Look at that.
Yeah.
What a beauty.
Wow.
All right. Yep. Every day this week now, from now until, Friday, I guess, we're going to play some audio back from Super Bowls where Green Bay brought home that Vince Lombardi trophy. We're definitely going to play that. Don't tell him. We're going to play that for Rami. Hey, bud.
Oh, love that.
Do you recognize this?
Yeah.
I kind of want him to be the guy now no offense to John Kuhn, but.
Well, I like that I like that we get to shake it up, because one day it's like, oh, I have questions I want to ask a former athlete like John Kuhn. And then there are other days where I'm like, oh, I kind of want to just make fun of a Chicago fan.
Poke the bear.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah.
All right, let's play catch up. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks, and anything else. Here we go.
Packers.
So apparently the Packers do announce coordinators before the rest of the staff.
Yeah. Oh, it was brilliant timing. Brilliant timing.
Yeah.
If you don't think the Packers listen to this show,
seriously,
they heard you. Don't worry, Josh. Per source, we're not finding anything out anytime soon. So put that to bed.
Yeah.
Official announcement for the Green Bay Packers.
A few moments later. I saw that. I'm like, all right, well,
cool.
At least they like to keep us guessing or something.
Oh,
Jonathan Gannon officially announced by the Green Bay Packers yesterday as the new defensive coordinator. Wes Hodkiewicz, Packers.com, put out an awesome article at the end/middle of the day yesterday, I suppose, end of my day. The top 5 things you need to know about Jonathan Gannon. Number 2 really stood out to me. He says, remember, Matt LaFleur was really impressed with Gannon when they played at Arizona this past October.
Like, give credit to Arizona. This is part of I'd say the genius in what they do is they don't give you looks that are easy that you can tell, oh, this is a man coverage look. So they disguise the look well. It wasn't until after we motioned that it was like, oh, it looks like it's man. So give credit to them. I got a lot of respect for those guys. Gannon, I think, does a hell of a job. Rollis does a hell of a job. Like, those guys are really good coaches.
So Matt LaFleur liked what he saw from the Cardinals defense that kept him guessing. And when Gannon became available, yeah, we got to have that guy. We need that guy. Here's the problem. That was pretty much every defense the Packers played in the second half of every game this season.
Yeah.
So hopefully something stood out different, Josh.
Well, I just thought it was funny. Like, if obviously we want what Matt LaFleur is talking about here, specifically with Gannon, to be true. But I bet if we go back and we listen to every single post-game presser from last year from Matt LaFleur, he says, and give credit to them.
Yeah.
Give credit to that defense. Give credit to those guys. You know, they're out there. They did a lot of great things, blah, blah, blah. He said that about every team, but every coach. They were I can't remember a time, honestly, where he was like, didn't give credit in some way, shape, or form. Even if the Packers blew him out, he still gave credit.
Right. Especially when they struggled to keep a lead, which was often
a lot of time.
Wow, hell of a defense they got over there.
Yeah, got to give credit to them.
On to the Brewers.
Brewers.
If you missed it yesterday, Brewers games will be produced and distributed this season by Major League Baseball, making games available in market to fans on cable and satellite TV, because it needs to be more confusing, as well as through the MLB direct-to-consumer streaming platforms. I think that means we have to cancel FanDuel TV.
Yeah, I love that this announcement came out, and it left me going, cool. I have no idea what this means or how it's going to change things, and I have a feeling I won't fully understand it until 2 weeks into the regular season.
Well, there's not much that's changing, luckily. I reached out to a source from Fox Sports, FanDuel, MLB.TV. And actually, they work for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Oh, okay.
And this is a nothing burger. Same broadcasters, different way to find it, more info to come. But fear not, Brewers fans. According to the Brewers president of business operations, Rick Schlesinger, this won't affect Brewers payroll whatsoever.
It's not a secret that, the economics with MLB Media Brewers TV are probably less than what we were looking at FanDuel. But I will tell you, I don't anticipate, and I'm not worried about any impact on player payroll or other operations. Matt Arnold has flexibility. If there's a deal to be made to add a player that makes us better, Mark's going to say, let's do it.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. What?
Matt Arnold has flexibility. If there's a deal to be made to add a player that makes us better, Mark's going to say, let's do it.
There's a list. I had a list I gave to Santa last Christmas of players that I
didn't do it.
No. He can. Matt, you can. Mark is ready to write the check. I didn't know. I didn't know that.
Most businesses try to cut expenses and raise revenue. The Brewers have found a way to go, yeah, we're going to have a little bit less revenue here, but our owner's got a checkbook ready to go.
Yeah, the complete opposite.
I will take the over on that.
I mean, here's the biggest thing is that if you're a Brewers fan and you're in, especially, if you're local here in Milwaukee, they've changed the name of the channel from, as you said, Fox Sports to Bally's to FanDuel to whatever, but it was the same channel. And so now that's going to be the biggest thing. Just like, I don't know how it works for you, Trevor, but I feel like anytime my kid asks me hey, do you know how I can watch this movie? I don't know. I got to go to Google. I got to type it in, and then I got to click where to find, because they all bounce all over. Well, now we got to do that with the Brewers too. At some point before the start of the season, we're going to have to find out where locally in your city on your television you can watch the Brewers. We just don't know where that is yet.
We'll let you know when we know, and I don't think we're going to know for a hot second, per Josh's point there. I got a text yesterday with a screenshot of that announcement from a buddy of mine that said, thank God. And I said back, ish. Thank God, ish. This is why baseball is beyond broken. The Brewers can't get a TV deal that makes sense for them, and the Dodgers have $1 billion in revenue, much of which comes from their TV broadcast rights. It's wild. So I'm glad we'll be able to watch the Brewers again, obviously. But remember this season, because we are likely not going to have baseball in 2027, and this is why.
Yep, this is a big part of it. A lot of people want to talk about it being the players and the player-ish revenue, but it's where that money's coming from. Where's the money coming from that these teams can pay the players? It's not like whoever owns the Dodgers just has a gajillion dollars. Like, yeah, they have a lot of money, but they're getting a lot of money to where we just, as Bruce Schlesinger said, Brewers are not.
When we hear the idea of these TV deals and revenue sharing and so on, the market size, we hear that a lot. Market size. Oh, great. Milwaukee's got a small market.
Yeah.
No, Wisconsin. We are a small market, period. Yeah. Look at any of the neighboring markets that we have. Chicago, number 3 market in all of the United States of America. Minneapolis, not far behind. The other small markets, look at what Kansas City is doing. The Chiefs are getting a $1 billion stadium built for them across the border. Like the market size is what it is, but it's not Milwaukee. It is Milwaukee, but it's more all of us. You get out of Milwaukee and Madison and Wisconsin, even Green Bay and here in South or Northeast Wisconsin, it's a big metro area. But other than that, I mean, look, guys, like Wausau is a beautiful place. Duluth, Superior, amazing, but super small markets.
Yeah.
And when we're looking at advertising dollars for a team like the Brewers to be able to compete against teams like, I don't know, Dodgers don't even make sense to compare to. Royals, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere near. You just have to take a step back and go, this thing is busted if we're ever going to have the ability to compete. Now, the Brewers somehow have figured it out, though. I mean, look at the farm system. Look at the players that we bring up.
Yeah, that's what I was saying yesterday, is that's the difference in how an organization is ran. You can look at what the Brewers have done with what they are and with the funds and the resources available to them, and everyone should have confidence and be impressed with that front office and that organization. They're playing by completely different rules than the other major sports franchises in the state, and they're finding ways to still be competitive and have us loving the team.
Coming up, and I have questions. It's a day early. Would you rather Bucks or Pro Bowl tonight? The Bucks play at Chicago. The Pro Bowl plays where? San Francisco?
I don't know.
Probably make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? Which, if it makes sense, I guarantee it's not there.
Yeah, then it can't be there. Yeah.
Would you rather watch the Bucks or watch the Pro Bowl? We'll talk about that, and I have questions. Plus, I have to get Josh's next Super Bowl prop bet. It's heads or tails. You have your time now to figure out which one you're going to grab.
Good, I need the time.
I have one to think. Grab a quarter, do what you got to do. The Nicolay Law Fan talking text line 414-677-1250. Heads or tails. That's today's I have questions Super Bowl prop bet of the day. On the Bucks.
Badgers.
So we talked about it yesterday. The final score over the weekend, Badgers 92, Ohio State 82. We're in the thick of it now from a season standpoint and conference and getting ready for March, which is exactly why we are chatting later today, 8 a.m., with the voice of the Wisconsin Badgers, Matt LePay, will join us here on Inside Wisconsin Sports statewide on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. The Badgers seem to have the ability this year to claw their way back, whereas a lot of other teams are giving up that scenario to whoever they're playing, specifically Green Bay. They seem to be able to get out to a lead and then struggle to keep that. I'm not talking about the Packers. I'm talking about college basketball.
Yeah, the Packers. Yeah, got it.
So that's part of the conversation today with Matt is what's the best way for the Badgers to set themselves apart as we get closer and closer to March? It is February 3rd. It dawned on me this morning that spring break is about 5 weeks away, which is when March Madness starts. So to say that basketball gets hot and heavy here for a hot second, kind of an understatement.
Yeah. Yeah, this is that ramping up period for when we all fall in love with basketball at a completely different level. I can't wait for the conference tournaments to start. It's all going to be here so soon.
On to the Bucks.
Bucks.
Hey, they didn't lose last night.
They didn't play last night.
They didn't lose last night.
They play tonight at the Bulls, 7 o'clock. Now that I can't watch the Brewers on FanDuel TV, I am fairly certain there's a cancellation in my near future.
Hey, that's at Milwaukee. That game's at home.
So, it's at Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Just want to let everyone know if you found a ticket on the ground for the game tonight.
I was going to say
it is legitimate. It is at Fiserv.
Part of me thinks that there would have been more Bucks fans that was going to travel to Chicago to watch the game, but now it's at home. Literally, that's it. The Bucks play at home tonight against the Bulls at 7 o'clock.
Well, I think it's also worth noting that it's the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
It's Tuesday, and we're 1 day closer to the 5th. Just one. If you're marking X's on your calendar at home, go ahead, put one more. We're getting there.
I was listening to the Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up show last night between 5 and 6 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with our guy Tommy Wartz.
Yeah,
who has Bucks fatigue.
Yeah,
done talking about all of the non-news. Well, that's the hard part, though. We do this to ourselves. Like we see one. Seriously, Shams could tweet Bucks send. And we go, oh, what does that mean? What can we read? We're doing it to ourselves, guys. Like, you want to talk about fatigue? I'm sure you have listening fatigue, and we have talking fatigue when it comes to the literal non-news that is the Milwaukee Bucks.
You know, it was crazy. I saw some reports yesterday about like Kawhi Leonard and James Harden, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know you guys knew how to talk about other players.
Right?
That's incredible.
All right. Anything else? I'm moving on. We're done.
Oh, okay.
Anything else?
There's just nothing to talk about with it anymore. Like we can rattle off all the names of all the players that have been thrown out, and it's literally the entire league.
Yeah. Everyone's got something.
Report just in: the team wants to trade all their players for Giannis. Fill in blank.
Yeah,
like that. It's just over. I'm over it.
I am offering up Rami Maklov in exchange for Giannis.
Seriously.
Yep.
And an AM radio signal. Any other question? Like, what do you want? What else you got? All right. The NFL Pro Bowl, we mentioned it, is tonight as well, which leads us to this I Have Questions portion of the show. Brought to you by an early Would You Rather. Tuesday morning, text us, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line, 414-677-1250. Would you rather watch the Bucks or the NFL Pro Bowl thinger tonight? Those answers, your questions, that's next on the I Have Questions portion of the show. If you want to talk Bucks, just text us. Tell us what you want. Like, we'll pass it on. I don't even know who to pass it on to. Shams? Something? It's just.
Yeah, we'll pass it along to Shams.
Yeah, we'll let him know. Hey, this just in. Nothing. Send. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We are inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Good morning, Wisconsin. Why does it feel like this Super Bowl doesn't have the buzz about it like previous ones? Find out with the guys from 9 to noon and former Packer fullback John Kuhn this morning, 9 to noon, here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. I don't know. Does it feel that way to you, Josh? Inside Wisconsin Sports, Trevor and Josh?
A little bit.
Not as much buzz?
A little bit. And I can't tell if it's just because there wasn't like the star power. Like, how many times were we like, this is the first year without Brady or Mahomes, or, you know, they put up that stat in however many years. So it's kind of a changing of the guard. And I think a lot of us were hoping for a Josh Allen or one of these guys. And both of the teams, it's Sam Darnold versus Drake May. It's like, okay, Drake May shows promise, but a lot of people don't know him yet. And Sam Darnold, everyone's going, how the hell did you get here? So, you know, when you put those two together, the storyline, I get it. It doesn't have as much juice. That's
kind of the hard part of getting old, though. Like, there's a piece of us that goes, oh, man, Tom Brady again. I remember that.
Oh,
like, Patrick Mahomes again. Come on.
Hated
now
it.
We get two new dudes, and we're like, really? Who are you? Okay.
Right.
Can't have it both ways.
That's right.
Time for I Have Questions.
When things just don't add up, Trevor and Josh ask the hard questions or just point out how messed up stuff is.
I only have one question. Can you fly this plane and land it? Surely you can't be serious.
Do you view this season as a failure?
You asked me the same question last year.
What's the most important question the Badgers have to answer Saturday?
This is a great question. Oh my God, this is a great question.
It's time for I Have Questions on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line. Question 1 today, Josh, a little would you rather early. Tonight, there's no Ronald McDonald Charity House event for you to get out of whatever it is that we have to watch tonight. By the way, how'd that go last night?
Oh, that was great. It was great. They do something that's called the Chef's Dinner. They have a lot of amazing chefs that are in the city. They all come together. They do a 6-course meal. Ooh. It's all around a theme. It was Fire and Ice was the theme last night, and it's all to raise money for the Ronald McDonald House, which is just an amazing charity. I think we both know a few people that have had to use the house, and it's an absolutely incredible organization. So it was a lot of fun. And then waking up on a Tuesday hurt a little bit, you know, because of the amount of fun that took place on a Monday night.
See, listen.
Great call. Yeah.
I like drinking.
There's a drop. Yep. Perfect. Yeah.
I got a buddy that looks at me every time we're together at like 11:30, 12 o'clock. We're chilling in some bar here in Wisconsin if we're together. And he looks at me and he goes, you know what's cool about people like you and I? We love drinking. So the problem is 4 a.m. And so Fridays, Saturdays, those are mine. I'll have a couple 2-3 cocktails or Miller Lights on a Friday or Saturday night. But after that, man, I got to steer clear because I don't want to get up at 4 a.m. the way it is, let alone after a couple 2-3 cocktails.
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, it wasn't, you know, my choice. It was there are wines that are paired with the foods. For me to truly experience the wonderful meals, you have to have the wine that's paired with it. I don't want to be rude, right?
I get it.
So
hey, listen, you took one for the team. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But now, when I'd love to have that tonight,
exactly.
Now instead, I've got to choose between Pro Bowl or Bucks,
or watching your toenails grow, or watching paint dry.
Yeah,
that's what the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line says. 414-677-1250. That's not how we play Would You Rather on this Tuesday. So you gotta watch one. Bucks or the Pro Bowl. Mine's the Pro Bowl. I don't like to watch the Bucks if there's nothing else on but the Bucks. It's just brutal. So if I have an excuse, I'm totally canceling my FanDuel subscription too. I can't believe I haven't already.
I mean, it's kind of you saying that, like, I'm not surprised. How often do we actually cancel subscriptions when we say we're going to? I'm going to cancel that 7 months later. I forgot to cancel that.
Yep. Love that 30-day free trial.
Yep. Turns into
3
4
months
years.
later. What the hell is this?
Yeah.
$30 bucks for what?
Exactly. I'm with you, though. I'm going to also watch the Pro Bowl. And I'll tell you why. This is the definition for everyone saying, I'm not watching either of those things. This is the definition of hate watching. If you haven't been able to get yourself in the mindset of hate watching, this is perfect. You are going to be able to watch the Pro Bowl knowing that it is going to suck and just be able to give yourself fodder the next day to talk about and complain about something. You can go up to the water cooler and go, "Did you watch that Pro Bowl game last night? This is what they're doing now. I couldn't believe what I was seeing." It'll give you something to talk about at the water cooler. Pro Bowl.
The 414 on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line says, instead of watching the Bucs in the Pro Bowl, I would rather watch literally anything else. I'm not wasting my time with either. That's Jeff in Fox Point. The 920 said, back to sports Wisconsin style, the NCAA brackets on CBS has a predictor out. Wisconsin's a 9 seed playing an 8 seed, which is NC State. Do you follow that stuff, Josh? This whole, well, let's predict all the things with, like, it's like
too early.
The first draft pick after the draft this year. All right, who's the number 1 pick? Are you serious?
I'll start paying attention when it gets closer to the conference tournaments. That's when I feel like, all right, now these guys that are putting their bracket ideas together, they have a little bit more to go off of. It's way too early still.
I like the skills competition that comes along with the Pro Bowl. I think that'll be fun to watch.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I do. I think it's interesting. I think it's fun. They're trying. It's not like they've completely given up. Kevin from the 801. Would you rather watch the Bucs or a WNBA game? WNBA.
WNBA. WNBA.
100% of the time, WNBA. 100%.
100%?
100%.
Oh,
Have you actually sat down and watched a WNBA game? It has the passion, the talent, the effort that the NBA used to have. Ooh, hot take.
Yeah, that is a super hot take. No, I will watch the Bucs almost every single time besides what's happening with them right now. But
Heads and
essentially,
tails, Josh.
Essentially, me watching the WNBA, you might the TV could be off. Like, I'm just zoning out into the lights on the screen. That's essentially what I'm doing at that point. What, heads or tails?
Yep, that's the prop bet for today. So the question from now until this weekend will be one prop bet for you, for all of you, on this weekend's Super Bowl. Yesterday, you might remember, the prop bet that we talked about was the national anthem length. You took the under. I took the over.
Yeah, and I regretted it immediately after we talked to Tim Allen, because Tim Allen also said over, and he is a musician himself. I went, dang it. I am going to go heads.
Me too. That's unfortunate.
Man.
Yep. I think it's heads all day long.
Yeah. Any reason why? You got anything to back that up?
Tons. I'm trying to remember. So every year we do this, and it's such a great way to start the game. Yes. And I think we put $100 on it. I think we put 100 on whatever it is. I haven't talked to my buddy Chris yet. Hopefully he doesn't want tails, because if that's the case, then we literally flip a quarter in the moment.
See,
all right, there it is.
But then you should, if you're really into it, then you double down on which way they choose to kick.
Can you do that?
I mean, you can do anything if it's.
I've never seen that one.
If it's just with your friends, I'm talking. Yeah, like if you're just. Oh
no. We have the actual slips.
Oh yeah. No, that I don't think there is. But I'm saying, like, if you want to super be a degenerate, there's plenty of stuff.
Well, I've got an entire list here of things I can potentially bet on.
First commercial out of the break. You know, what
First
company
team to
is that?
score,
Yeah.
total touchdowns. We'll get to all of that later in the week. Tomorrow, you can start thinking now. The Gatorade color dumped on the winning coach. There's orange, yellow/green. Apparently, that's the same thing. Finally, somebody else colorblind like I am. Yeah,
like
yellow and green.
Lemon lime. Yeah.
Purple, blue, clear, red, or pink. And there's a long shot, no bath. No Gatorade bath whatsoever. We'll see what you guys choose tomorrow. Any talk or news with the new Brewers coverage this season with Bally Sports from the 920? Yep, we talked about it just a bit ago. The news is literally it's a nothing burger. It's just a change as to where you'll watch the game. Same announcers, same people we love, same team we love, just a different app. or a different channel. Nothing else is changing. We even heard from the Brewers president of business operations that nothing's changing in regard to how much money the Brewers will or will not spend on their payroll in terms of players.
I still think that I'm still not set, though, that nothing's going to change. We don't know what channel this is going to be on. It could still be on a channel that if you got the Fox Sports Bally FanDuel channel for however many years, it might be now on a channel you don't get. We don't know. We don't know where this is going to end up. I don't think it's going to end up on, local access television. It's going to be on some channel.
It'll be cable or satellite. They told us that.
Yeah.
And some sort of streaming service. No different than it is now. It will literally be the exact same way it is now, just with a different mic flag, a different moniker, MLB.TV. You can still find wherever it's available to download the app or go online to stream it. You'll just have to pay a subscription, no different than you do now. I hope to God MLB.TV's app works 1,000% better than FanDuel's.
Yeah.
Not a single game have I watched that doesn't eventually just time out and you get a code and you have to restart it every single time.
So we're one of those weird families that still pays for cable. Like we have cable. And so that's why I'm worried, because our package, whatever we've had, has included that channel. As it's changed, the number on the TV has stayed the same. And now the Brewers games aren't going to be there. And so I don't know if this magical new channel.
No, they will. They will. They will. They're on cable. They announced that yesterday.
Yeah, but I don't know. But it's not going to be on that FanDuel channel. Right?
Is this what you're concerned about? A different 3-digit number?
How do I know I'm going to get that 3-digit number with
Because
my
they said you
included
will.
package?
They literally put it out yesterday that you'll get it cable and satellite along with whatever streaming service they end up going with.
Okay, I thought maybe it was going to be on like MLB Network 4 or something, to where I'm like, I don't have that. So
that would be a mistake. I would be shocked. And they did come out and say it, no different than the past. It'll be on cable and satellite. The 920, the Bucks, so I can hate watch Doc. That's what they're watching tonight. A little would you rather early edition, Bucks or Pro Bowl tonight. The Bucks, so I can hate watch Doc, and then come here and mind dump in the morning about hating Doc and Jimmy Haslam.
Attaboy.
You're welcome.
Attaboy. That's what you do right there.
Annie and Oconomowoc, Josh, we still have Giannis. My son was wrong.
Yep. No
Let's
offense,
keep the
Annie.
hope.
I hope he keeps being wrong.
You
Got a
still
couple more
think
days.
we should keep Giannis?
I don't think it makes sense to move him now. I don't think it makes sense for the Bucks to rush it, especially if it seems like we can get more for him during the offseason. And then we also have more time to figure this out through the rest of the season. So I'm all about kicking this can down the road and making it a problem for future us. Absolutely.
Every once in a while, we get a text on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250, that I feel like somebody is trolling me from my own life. So I'm typing in this phone number. No, it's nobody I know. Damn it. The 920 says, I don't think the Brewers are worth watching anymore. They've been in a downward spiral ever since a certain someone threw away a quarter zip.
You know, he's not wrong.
How do you know it's a he?
You know, they're not wrong.
Okay.
The Brewers have been on quite the losing streak ever since.
That's bull.
I'm
sitting. So what was it? Sunday? Yeah. On Sunday, I got the chance to sit with my buddy Shannon Alberts. He owns a roofing company here in Northeast Wisconsin, Security Lipke Roofing. I sat with him literally, Josh, on the bench for the UWGB game. There are 4 seats that one can purchase on the bench. Okay. So I sat there. The first thing Doug Gottlieb said when he saw me and looked over to the ref was, get this guy the F out of here. Yep. Just like that. Good to see you too, Coach. Can't wait to talk about that tomorrow.
Amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I've got other news that I'm holding on to until he gets his little mug in front of us on this screen tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I'm
very excited about that.
I have a list of things. I'm just going to save it. If you've listened to any of our interviews with Doug Gottlieb on Wednesdays at 8 a.m., do not miss tomorrow's. I had a front row seat, a literal front row seat. Okay.
That's
now remember, I mentioned that
he wanted you out of there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I've got things and questions. But from across the way, my buddy Mike sees me sitting there, texts me and says, "Hey, does that quarter zip stink by chance?" So I was like, "A little." Not throwaway worthy quite yet.
Wow.
We're going to give it a good soak. See if we can't have some of these materials that they make this stuff out of, whatever it is, it just holds on to the life.
That's why you got to get the good stuff. You got to get the breathable stuff, you know?
The 414 says, I would rather hang out with Jeff from Fox Point. He can make his layups instead of watching the Bucks.
Oh, I think that was in regards to the WNBA. Trevor, Mark and Eagle said, Trevor, no, never the WNBA. They may try hard, but they aren't good.
I bet you Caitlin Clark can beat you one-on-one.
Oh, I bet Riker could beat me one-on-one.
Well, he's got a game tonight. Speaking of things that I don't have to worry about and watching whatever is on TV, hashtag Riker basketball game. And then someplace for pizza or burger afterwards. And then I'll get home and open one eye and take a peek at it and go, all right, we're good.
Yep, there you go. Lucky.
The most electrifying sound of the day is next. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, the brass that is in charge of these two teams this weekend in the Super Bowl. Thank you, Ron Wolf. We'll hear from his son next. We're inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
It's time for
The most electrifying,
sound of the day
the most electrifying.
on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Brought to you by Best Electric. Learn more at bestelect.com. Don't stress. Connect with the best.
Once the players showed up in April, really understanding how quickly he was going to be able to do it. Like, I knew he'd be able to do it and then get everyone to buy in. It was really impressive to see the shift once the season started from guys that had been here kind of waiting for something bad to happen to shift into, being ready to make those plays.
That is Elliot Wolf talking about Mike Vrabel and his impact, his immediate impact with the New England Patriots. And that is the most electrifying sound of the day, brought to you by our friends at Best Electric. Remember, no job is too big or too small for Best Electric. Don't stress, connect with the best. Call them today or visit bestelect.com. Man, I mean, hearing a GM be able to talk that way about a coach, especially in the short time, right? Talk about a quick turnaround, finding your guy, and then hearing that of the players literally having doubts. A lot of the players being like, I don't know how this is going to go, to where that team is at now. Does that not make you a little jealous?
Yeah, a little bit.
Happening in 1265?
I love that both of the guys on each of these teams that are making these decisions came from Lambeau Field. I absolutely love that. So listening to Elliot Wolf talk or thinking about John Schneider with the Seahawks, actually The Athletic put out an amazing article yesterday. Dan Pompei, Pompei, I think I'm saying that right, Dan Pompei. If you are an Athletic subscriber, go and search him, Dan Pompei. He wrote an article that says Patriots and Seahawks architects are connected by the influence of one man, Ron Wolf. And you're darn tootin' if you don't think that Ron Wolf is making his way to San Francisco this weekend to watch that, for obvious reasons, with his son, Elliot Wolf, who we just heard from there. But John Schneider, too. And I think these guys take a lot of credit in the trees that they produce. Did you see a graphic yesterday, speaking of getting the right person for the job, like Elliot was talking about Vrabel? It was, I don't know the year, it was the Atlanta Falcons coaching staff. Go and find that graphic on Twitter. There's 9 guys, I think, in this graphic. All of them are either head coaches in the NFL and or coordinators in the NFL.
Yeah.
Impressive team, to say the least.
And how'd they do? They had to have been a dynasty, right?
That
team?
Atlanta Falcons team? I don't think so.
Won 4 Super Bowls? No?
No, wrong one.
Oh. That's a shame.
When we do the Morning Mind Dump coming up next, the Tuesday edition of the Morning Mind Dump, just after the top of the hour, get your mind dumps in now, 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. I want to talk about one specific thing that I believe deserves a mind dump here in Wisconsin, and it's at the high school sports level. There's this idea of, if we could change a rule in sports, what would it be, right? Whether it's how the game operates or a specific rule in the NFL and so on. But how I got to this point was there are still people arguing about having a shot clock in Wisconsin high school basketball. Apparently, the other night, Appleton North at Kaukauna, North held the ball for nearly all of the last 2 minutes and 2 seconds on the clock in the first half, and then hit a 3 with like 5 seconds left to go up 6 at halftime. And then the other team tried to hustle down and make a layup and was unsuccessful. There's a gentleman on Twitter that runs a page called Zaleski Sports, and he was going off about the idea of a shot clock in high school. And then our guy here from Channel 5, Kyle Malzahn, got involved in the conversation as well. Where do you, as parents across the state of Wisconsin that maybe have kids in high school basketball, where do you stand on this or other rule changes in sports? We all complain that we see these roughing the passer penalties, Josh, and whether that's a good call or should be something. I mean, pass interference is a thing. An undefended receiver or something like that. Defenseless receiver.
Correct.
There's so many things that we as fans watch, whether we're parents or not, and go, God, what a stupid rule. What ones come to mind for you? That's part of today's Morning Mind Dump, plus whatever else you have on your chest that you simply just got to get off and out of your head before you start this Tuesday. here in Wisconsin. Any preview of your morning mind dump this morning, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, it's Pro Bowl day, and mine just keeps going back to the idea of we just need to get rid of this. I think it's time to just do away with these type of events. It's done.
Done.
It's done.
Just the Pro Bowl, or you're saying all-star events in general?
Done. It's they're going to be the first one to fall, but it's going to be a domino effect, and I think eventually they should all go.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line, your morning mind dump. Next, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Josh wants to get rid of all things all-star game, Pro Bowl / whatever they call them. I don't think we need a shot clock in high school sports in Wisconsin. And whatever else you guys have, let us know. We're inside Wisconsin sports with Trevor and Josh. The morning mind dump is next. Stay here. I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, it's great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Crowd is here, about to blow, waiting for me to start the show. Out the curtain, lights go up from home. Whoa!
The clock is running with 20 seconds to go. The Packers out in front by 25 points, and this is the first Super Bowl. 10 seconds to go. The Packers standing around, not willing to get off another play necessarily. The Kansas City Chiefs are willing to walk to the sideline, and the Kansas City Chiefs, many of them, are walking toward the Green Bay Packers. Cheryl Hendrick shaking the hand of Bart Starr. All of them have come over and are talking to the Packers. That's the end of the game with the final score. Green Bay 35 and Kansas City 10. We'll be back in a moment with the final wrap-up of today's game.
The final call of Super Bowl I. A victory for the Green Bay Packers over the Chiefs. 35-10. Packers have won 4 Super Bowls, 4 trophies to prove it. Each of these 4 days leading up to Super Bowl weekend will play for you some audio from those victories, including that one from that guy on that network.
That's exactly right.
Does that count? Does that count? What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Inside Wisconsin Sports, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, live on YouTube and Twitter as well at WI Sports Radio. Follow Josh and I there too at Trevor Thomas IW, at On Air Josh, or at Inside Wis Sports, where yesterday it did not take Josh and some of you long to immediately taunt me yet again when the Packers come out with even more news that I didn't think they were going to give. But there it is.
Yep, they're listening, and they went, hey, Trevor doesn't think we're going to announce officially that we have Gannon. Go ahead, send tweet.
Yeah, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. Yep, that's pretty valid. That's me.
Thanks, Packers.
Time for today's morning mind dump. Here we go.
I have voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
The coffee is kicked in. We're awake and ready to roll. Let's get some things off our chest and out of our heads.
You don't know what it's like to be me out here for you. It is an up at dawn, pride-swallowing siege that I will never fully tell you about, okay?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm in a glass case of emotion!
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
We've got no food, we've got no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off!
It's time for the Morning Mind Dump on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line. It's amazing to me, Josh, how when we hear a radio call like that or a TV call like that, now with just how incredible technology is and how clear and the audio and the video, it's like, man, we got it good. Then you hear that and you're like, oh, that sounds really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's why, sometimes the throwback, the vintage stuff is good. You don't appreciate it at the time.
And that's kind of how I feel about this topic for more mining dumping this morning in regard to the shot clock in high school athletics here in the state of Wisconsin. So if you missed it, the other night, Appleton North was playing Kaukauna. I believe it was at Kaukauna. Appleton North had the ball just before halftime. 2 minutes, 2 seconds left on the clock, and they held the ball. Literally held it until about 5 seconds left on the clock, and then shot a three or ran a play, scored. Now they're up 6 to go into halftime. Kaukauna got the ball back, tried to make a layup. It didn't work. Halftime buzzer sounds, and away we go. Well, some people, including a gentleman that runs a Twitter handle about Zaleski Sports, said that this is atrocious and that Wisconsin should have a play clock. And as you would expect, the arguments were for and or against said play clock or shot clock or whatever the case is in order to how do we change rules is really what we're talking about. And I find that annoying for a few reasons. Number one, there are rules in place in the game that make sure a team can't just hold the ball. That exists.
Okay.
So if a team is holding the ball and you're choosing not to defend the ball, that's on you.
What is the rule? What is the rule, though?
If you are within a certain distance on defense and don't make a move, a basketball move, you have 5 seconds to either make said basketball move or get rid of said basketball.
Okay.
So a shot clock isn't needed if you play defense by the rules.
Sure.
There are things in place. On the flip side of that, look at college and or professional basketball. There is a shot clock in place which forces play, yet what do we complain about? No defense. So which way do we want it in regard to Wisconsin high school athletics? The other argument for this, Josh, is it's hard enough the way it is. There's 2 arguments. One, volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
We can barely get a concession stand to run at certain games for certain sports, let alone scorekeepers, let alone the scoreboard operator, which is somebody completely different than a shot clock operator. That's its own job. When I sat courtside on the table for UWGB for 7 years, the shot clock person is a completely separate person. And then comes along a whole set of separate rules for that. How long should the shot clock be? What do you do with the rules on defense? How do we get people to operate it? We don't have any ability in high school athletics to go to the tape and reset the shot clock, or did the ball hit the rim? Now there's yet another person in the way of a game being played. And money. Have you been to some of these high school gyms across the state of Wisconsin? Some have a lot of money. Others don't. So how are they supposed to come up with the funding to put shot clocks in high school gyms? It just makes no sense to me. I don't understand why a shot clock would make things better, and I have also no idea how that would be executed.
Yeah. So for me, it's not about what is better. It's realizing, because first of all, let's stop and just say everyone that is chiming in right now on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, we appreciate all of you. We're gonna try to get to all these texts. Flooded, literally during the break, like hundreds of people. It was nuts the amount of people that were texting in. But as they're still coming in, I saw one where someone said they should absolutely replicate what happens at the collegiate and professional level in high school sports. The difference is, as you pointed out, money. Collegiate and professional sports are about money. They're businesses. College sports maybe wasn't as much, but there's no way anyone could say it's not now. Those are absolutely businesses. High school sports is not a business, at least not yet. Maybe someday it will be, but in the meantime, it's not. And so you don't have the funding, to your point, to be able to include all the necessary people, pieces, equipment, technology, everything that you need to replicate what happens in collegiate and professional sports. For that reason alone, that's why you had to come up with a different rule, like you stated, exists, to do something instead of a shot clock. It's not about should it exist for the love of the game and consistency across all ages of the game. It's about money. It's always been about money.
There are school districts across the state of Wisconsin that have these operational referendums to keep certain teachers in certain seats on the bus, or to keep certain staff members doing this or that, and flip that now to, but we need money to go and operate shot clocks and get them, call Dektronics and get them installed. And then we need operators. And I just don't know where you're going to get the money for that. The 920 to get to some of these texts says, I 100% agree that a shot clock is needed in high school basketball. It makes a better basketball game for sure. Love the show. 414, the morning mind dump. Here's a rule I'd like to change. No dad or parent coaches at the high school level.
Now, I would be at the high school level. I feel like for the most part, that is the case usually, unless it's like, what about if you had an existing coach whose kid then is now of that age? You're gonna make the coach stop.
Grandfathered in,
right? He's a gym teacher at the school, and he's been, running the boys basketball team for 12 years. Well, now his son's going to be an incoming freshman. You're going to kick him out because of it? There's got to be exceptions to that rule. Otherwise, I agree. At a high school level, I don't think, and I personally haven't really seen it, that at a high school level, you just have to ask one of the parents to coach.
No, but typically a lot of parents do get involved when they know they have a kid coming up. I mean, I coached Rhodey's basketball team for 5 years, 4, 5, 6, 7th, and 8th grade. And I knew I wasn't going to be involved at the high school level because that's just not my jam, nor do I have time for that.
Sure.
But a lot of people do. A lot of people will move to a district, per se, and he's a good coach, and he's got a daughter or a son coming up, or she's a good coach, and she has kids coming up in whatever the sport may be. 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line. We're talking about a shot clock in high school basketball here in the state of Wisconsin, but also what other rules in sports do you think are just stupid that you'd like to see changed? Dumb rule in the NFL from the 715. When a wideout or tight end covers up a tight end or a tackle on the line of scrimmage, who cares? It's 1 yard, and what practical purpose does it serve? That's an interesting take because I've never really understood. I didn't play, truth be told, shocker to some, I'm sure. I didn't play high school football. I played till I was a sophomore, and then I was like, yeah, right. I went from 6'4" to 6'7", and I'm going, that's going to hurt.
Yeah.
I'm out. But I believe that there is a rule that says you have to have XYZ number of people on the line of scrimmage. That's what they're referencing, and or can't cover up a tight end or a tackle. I don't understand why. I think it has to do with eligible receivers, if I'm guessing. But at the same token, I don't quite understand why the rule exists. The 480 says the rules should be the same from high school to pro, no different. Otherwise, I cannot stand the NFL's inactive list. If healthy, suit up. That's also a puzzling one. 53 on the active roster, yet the game day roster, I think, has 45. So there are 8 players that are inactive. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
What's the purpose of them being on the team? The 920 says, I never thought or cared about a high school shot clock until I was at a game last year where a team did this and did it for most of the game. It was the worst game I've ever attended. The team was not stalling. They were trying to steal the ball for a while and then gave up and stood there. That was 4 to 5 minutes straight in the first half. The second half, it started again. The team stalling, got a few turnovers finally, and got aggressive, and then lots of fouls began to get called. The stalling team was a bad team trying to win a game, eventually turnovers and sending them to the foul line, and then the other team won. After that game, I am all in favor of the shot clock in Wisconsin. Other states do it already because the issues worse than this.
Okay, but again, it goes back to how you're going to be able to consistently across all of the high school sports that make it exactly the same. You have to be able to provide the same level of fair play with technology, equipment, and bodies to run that equipment for every single game in every single school. Can you do that? Can they figure out a way to do that?
I'll take the under. The 920, no shot clock. Kakana should have came out of their zone. That's someone that either watched the game online or was there. And that's the truth. There are defensive rules in place so that teams can't do this to you. It's just frankly up to you to decide on how you're going to break it. What's the difference between a team stalling with a particular play or a team running an offensive play that you just can't figure out?
Right. There isn't.
If you can't figure it out, that's on you. If a team is stalling, you have to figure out how you're going to make them not stall. No different than a team is scoring in the paint. You have to figure out how you're not going to allow that team to score in the paint. If you've been to Kimberly High School, they already have a shot clock in place, says the 920. Well, they don't use it.
Well, and so that's a great example, right? Like, okay, so if Kimberly has that in place and can afford it, great. Not everyone else can. Listen, I think that if there was unlimited money and you could, I think it's better to have a shot clock. I'm pro shot clock. I just think living in the world of realism, it's unrealistic that every school is going to be able to do all of the things that you mentioned, Trevor, to get one. But if you have these kids that are playing at a high school level, and some of them are going to go play in college, whether it be D3, D2, or D1, like, I don't think it's a bad idea to have them practice the way that the next level is going to be. It's just more difficult to do that because you don't have the funding.
Nick in Greenfield, back to the NFL rule change that somebody else mentioned about covering up tackles and or tight ends. Nick says putting guys on or off the line of scrimmage determines who's an eligible receiver. You need some way to indicate who's eligible. But then right after that, somebody in the 414 says, I can't stand the illegal lineman downfield. What difference does that make? Their instincts are to go block someone. I believe that's a disadvantage for the offense. They never keep them defensively from going anywhere. Well, we've opened up the can of rule changes this morning, which is kind of fun, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going.
414 says, you speak about this topic like the WIAA would get it right. Ha, not. B. Hintage in West Allis. Okay, pause. That's an interesting debate. The WIAA does not make rules. The WIAA brings rule changes in front of the voting members of the WIAA, and the voting members decide on what's going to change. The WIAA is just a management team to oversee high school athletics here in the state of Wisconsin. They don't make the rules. The people that vote from the WIAA schools make the rules. They get a really bad rap in all of this. Now, to say they haven't put themselves in some of these pickles in regards to what they say or don't say, but that's not true. The WIAA does not make these rules. As a matter of fact, this person on Zaleski Sports mentioned that whoever votes for this stuff are not sound in mind. The problem is execution and or opinion, frankly, about whether we need a shot clock or not. The 920 says, when I was in high school, we came out for the second quarter, and the team was in a 23 zone. That's 2-3 zone.
Yeah.
We inbounded. There's no space. Stay classy, San Diego.
I was going to say, the 2-3. Yeah. Okay.
We inbounded, and my coach had me hold the ball till 10 seconds were left on the clock. I held the ball for 7 minutes and 48 seconds.
Oh, I couldn't have watched that. If I was like a parent in the stands, I would have ran out on the court. Someone get in his face.
But there's a rule in place that allows you not to do that unless you are at an age where that rule didn't exist. I don't know if that's a thing, but it's worth asking in this moment. And then the 262 says, money, are you kidding me? It's a one-time fee.
No, it's not. Literally, you must not have been listening here for the beginning of the conversation. Trevor just laid out that it's a completely different person's job. It's not just paying for the equipment and then having each school one time pays for the equipment to have that. You need to have someone that runs it every single game. And where does it stop? Then it's not just for, you're not going to just do it for the boys' games, right? And then not do it for the women's games. Like, it's got to be consistent.
And how do you find the people that, whether you're going to pay them to do it or volunteer to do it and or keep up the maintenance so you can get them installed, you can pay for them once, then what?
And then there's a discrepancy about, so they missed it. We need to add 4 seconds. No, we don't. Well, let's go to the tape. There is no tape. Yep.
Exactly. Last one, and then we'll get to break. Andy in Brookfield, have you ever been to a high school basketball game lately? They have enough trouble managing the game clock, let alone adding a shot clock.
Right. Exactly our point.
Truth. When we come back, it's a Take Back Tuesday. Josh wants to take all of the All-Star games back. All of them. Just take them back.
They're going to get there. They're going to get there.
Flush them down the toilet. Plus, I want to take back whatever I said yesterday about the Packers not announcing anything about the coaches. Whoops.
Yeah, no choice.
We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Does this Super Bowl not have the buzz that others seem to have? Find out what the guys think on 9 to noon with former Packers fullback John Kuhn this morning starting at 9 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Trevor and Josh inside Wisconsin Sports on a Take Back Tuesday. Josh would just like to take back all the All-Star, Pro Bowl, all those games. Just flush them.
Yeah, it's not even about a want. It's just it's time. We gotta say goodbye. And I'm listening to 9 to noon with John Kuhn, Ron Makloff, yesterday after our show, and at one point they were talking about the weekend, and Rami had asked, "Did either of you guys watch the Pro Bowl this weekend?" And both Brandon and John said, "Absolutely not. No, didn't watch a minute of it." And I'm sitting in my car going, that's because it's tomorrow. We don't even know when it is. It's not even on a weekend anymore. This happens to other sports. You see things just fade, right? Why does the popularity of things fade? What happens? You could say that it really has to do with the fans. And if the fans aren't watching it, if you're not getting people to watch it, well, that's why. But why aren't people watching it? It's because the players don't care. If the players that are doing the event aren't bought in and don't care at all, then it's going to kill the event, plain and simple. And so what's happened over time is that the leagues has kept trying to find ways to make it interesting. Well, what about if we do this? Well, what if we... And they keep moving the goalpost further and further down of, all right, well, what about if it wasn't on a Sunday? Maybe people just aren't watching it because there's too many other things going on Sundays now. No, it's just that no one wants to participate in it. And once that snowball starts going, it just gets bigger and bigger. They're asking people, I think I saw, who was the former Bears quarterback that then he's with the Jets right now?
Justin Fields?
Justin Fields. There was a report that Justin Fields was asked to participate in the Pro Bowl. Justin Fields. Because
is it a name issue?
Hell of a season he had. And he said no. He was like, no, I need to focus on the offseason and blah, 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 blah. They don't want to play in it. So you can't expect people to want to watch it. If they don't care, the fans aren't going to care. And once the Pro Bowl falls, it's going to keep happening across the rest of the leagues. The last one I think to survive will be the MLB All-Star game, but eventually I think that'll end up going too.
The NBA kind of wrecked this as well. I mean, the no defense has like steroids in the All-Star game for the NBA.
Yep.
And it's nothing but weird alley-oops and guys walking, and they can blame injuries and potential accidents and whatever the case may be. I remember, well, the All-Star break is when you're supposed to rest. Well, not when you're an All-Star, not when you cared about being an All-Star.
I mean, same thing with the Pro Bowl, though. It became, well, football is a violent sport. And so, these are guys that are being paid a ton of money. You can't have them get a freak injury that then's going to keep them out all of next season, blah, blah. All of these thoughts, all of these changes. And then you're watching a football game where no one's trying, no one's tackling. It's essentially, we've been saying for years, the Pro Bowl is a flag football game. Now it's legitimately going to be a flag football game. Like that's the difference. It's just changed so much. Rhino on the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line chimes in, agrees with me. He said the fans stopped caring about the Pro Bowl when the players did. Exactly. I mean, that's when that change happens, then you can't expect the fan base to continue on and enjoy watching a product that stinks. That's not a good product. The players have to buy in first. And so the league has said, well, we'll give you money. How about if we give you a lot of money? You win, you'll make extra money. It doesn't matter. The players get paid a ton of money. And they're not going to risk that money for a meaningless game.
Rhino also says that hockey has the best all-star game. They have for years now. The NHL did put in this opportunity of best on the best with a little international juice attached to it. They replaced and or canceled the traditional 2026 All-Star Weekend in favor of the international style event. And I mentioned this the other day. I'm not an avid NHL hockey watcher, but boy, was I paying attention the last time this came about. I thought that was a blast. The NBA one is a joke. We talked about that. The players in the NFL don't care. I still really enjoy the MLB All-Star Game. I do think the players care. I know for some time it had been a number of years that the NL hadn't won.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys took that personal. You could hear it in the way they were being interviewed on TV, which is another piece of it that I also really enjoy. It's just, again, I call it peeking behind the cheddar curtain. I want to know what goes through these guys' heads when they're out there playing. What are they watching for? There was a conversation between John Smoltz and Clayton Kershaw in last year's MLB All-Star Game. Kershaw asked John Smoltz, what should I throw next? And he said cutter, to which Clayton Kershaw responded with, I don't have a cutter.
Yeah. Trust me, I get it. That's a fun part of it. But the reason why I say it's still trending to where they're all going down is because it was a couple of years ago where it was, well, listen, the player needs a rest. We're worried about pitch counts. We got to change the way that we're coaching in the All-Star Game now, because we can't have players on teams have, their start essentially be used up by pitching in the All-Star Game. They're changing things to bubble wrap protect players more and more and more, because players are becoming investments. They're not like childhood heroes. They're investments to teams. And
commodities.
So, right. And so it's changing everything. It makes the fun, meaningless games less important to where it's not going to matter. If you start seeing more and more of the all-star athletes not trying or not participating because of these concerns, then you're going to see the worst talent on the field or court. And then the fans are going to go, this is boring. I don't need to be a part of this. And eventually they'll all go away.
Speaking of Keyshawn Nixon, congrats on your Pro Bowl.
There you go.
I rest my case, Your Honor. So the Packers announced yesterday that Jonathan Gannon is the defensive coordinator now, which I literally said yesterday the Packers weren't going to announce the defensive coordinator because they weren't going to say anything about it at all until they announced the entire coaching staff. And we have heard for days now that this guy is the defensive backs coach. I mean, we had to fill these spots for Jeff Hafley plucking some of the guys to head to Miami with him, rightfully so. That's not abnormal. But I'm like, all right, well, then I guess we just wait. I even talked to a couple of guys that are on the beat that are like, yeah, they just don't do this. That's not the way they do it. Ding. Oh, they do it. They do it now. Jonathan Gannon gets announced as the D coordinator. So now, Josh, we go back to the patience game. It's February 3rd. I've got till Friday to see some other move on this team. But honestly, back to the land of realism, I guess. Not a place I like to live, by the way. The realistic view on this is they're just going to run it back. And somebody earlier was disappointed that I saw excitement or value in a couple of Wisconsin guys managing the teams that are the Seahawks and the Patriots in the Super Bowl. As a person with a lot of Wisconsin pride and patriotism, I'm really grateful and excited that those dudes that, listen, they're literally grew up where I am.
Yeah.
In De Pere. Oh, by the way.
De Pere.
I've got one for you. This came up on family dinner on Sunday night. Listen to this. I say De Pere. That's where I live. De Pere. There are two school districts in De Pere. One is De Pere, and the other is West De Pere.
Oh. That's why it's just De Pere.
I know.
Just if there's no consistency. Let's go French.
John Schneider grew up in De Pere or West De Pere. Not sure. The ultimate idea, though, that this person was getting at was, oh, cool. Then why do we have Brian Gutekunst? Well, I see Ed Policy and go, last I checked, he believes, along with a lot of Packers fans, that not only was Goody never in question, but apparently the rest of the squad. And so they're literally looking at this team is the team that's going to be able to get it done for the Green Bay Packers. Injuries are one thing. We've had a ton of conversation about that, but they're going to run it back. And so that's just the position that I've kind of kept my heart now going, okay, I'm done wondering who they're going to announce when. I'm taking that back from yesterday. I'm taking back the let's just be patient. They haven't said or done anything yet. And I fully expect Rich Bisaccia to retire.
Oh, you don't think he's going to coach next season? You think you think that he's still going to go away?
Get fired.
Well, I don't think that Packers fans really care how he's gone. I mean, I think you were the first one to say, throw him a party, make him a cake, put up a banner in the break room.
But do we care? I feel like we do care because we want, well, change at the position is one thing, but gusto is another. Making hard decisions, being the leader, deciding that this didn't go well or right or whatever. But you listen, and I've done this, you listen to Matt LaFleur's last press conference at the end of the year, and somebody asked him, well, what do you think of your special teams? To which Matt said, well, what part? The coverage, the kickoff coverage, pretty good. The punt coverage, pretty good. The hands team on that one onside kick, not good. Punter, really good. And so I just wonder of us as fans, and specifically what you and I get to do for a living, do we just nitpick it? Are we seeing things that maybe they just don't spend time seeing? I don't know. I can't explain it.
No. The one thing I can say is that Matt said that everything's on the table. He didn't say that he was going to clean the table. He said that everything's on the table. And it turns out that he went, and everything's on the table, and I love it right where it is. And then he just left it there. And that's frustrating. That's what was frustrating to me. That's what was frustrating to a lot of fans. I think a lot of fans thought that maybe Ed Policy would come in at the end of the season and change that. He didn't. He decided, as you said, we're going to run it back. And apparently Matt LaFleur said, good, me too. And they both agreed that we'll just keep everything the same except for the people that decided I'm out. And those we got to replace. And so that doesn't, in my opinion, last year, it was not just about injuries. There were enough frustrating things that happened that were non-injury related that were things that needed to be changed or fixed. And nothing from LaFleur or nothing from policy is making me feel like they understand that, they realize that, and they are going out of their way to change that. They are, to your point, running it back. Boo.
And we talked about this last week in how we wanted to take one person out for a beer. And if you could choose a person to have a beer, who would you take out for a beer? And I said, Ed Policy. I just kind of want to figure out where his mind's at. Mm-hmm. To which Josh replied,
yeah,
he'll have the same thing.
Yeah, I said he'll get as usual. He doesn't want to try anything new.
That was so funny. That was so funny.
Yeah, also
all right, then. Back to the land of positivity we go when we come back. What is the favorite moment that you have in your dome in regard to Badgers basketball? March Madness will be here in the blink of an eye. The conference tournaments start at the beginning of March. We're weeks away now from what we all know and love to be March Madness. When it comes to Badgers basketball, as we talk to Matt LePay coming up at the top of the hour, the voice of the Wisconsin Badgers, what are the moments that stick out to you? There is one in particular that I have, and I happen to be in Las Vegas when this happened, which, by the way, young Trevor did not need to be in Las Vegas for another reason to party his face off. I was out there for a bachelor party, and then Wisconsin ends up going to the Final Four. And that's all I remember. What's your favorite moment in regard to Wisconsin basketball? 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We're inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. What is your favorite memory of Wisconsin basketball? Think back, whether you were a kid or an adult, the year, the outcome, what happened? What was your favorite moment that you go, man, when I think of Badger basketball, this is what I think of? 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line. Josh, do you have one?
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of people's, but mine is absolutely when they defeated Kentucky to go to the championship game, ending that undefeated streak.
Frank Kaminsky, after they won the Big Ten Conference tournament, and he said, Grant, or Mr. Hill, rather, we want Kentucky. They got Kentucky, and now they got a chance for a championship Monday night.
A great half of basketball, the way they bounced back after some tough situations.
A lot of stunned faces in the Kentucky fan section as the shot is launched. There will be no undefeated champion on Wisconsin with an unbelievable stretch drive to the championship game.
Jim Nance and the whole crew on the call there. Yeah, I mean, that's it for me. That game was everything. I feel like that was, for a lot of people, that was like the game. Obviously, maybe that gets replaced depending on if then they win the whole thing. But that game, how they made it there, beating Kentucky, ending the streak, it was everything.
We owed Kentucky one, too.
Yep.
From the year prior.
Sure did.
That was my favorite moment. When Kentucky lost to Wisconsin. Not that one. I'm saying when they beat them. When Kentucky and Wisconsin played to get into the Final Four the year prior. Right? Am I getting that right? No. It wasn't Kentucky. Who did they play to make it into the Final Four the year prior? Look at your notes, Trev. They're right in front of you. Do you remember, Josh?
I don't. I thought that Kentucky Kentucky beat Wisconsin the year before.
In the Final Four. Wisconsin beat Arizona to get to the Final Four.
Okay.
That's why we owed them one. My favorite moment, that's when I was in Las Vegas. So it was an overtime victory for the Badgers over Arizona, 64-63. That's what happens when I try to use my brain. It doesn't work. I was in Las Vegas for a buddy's bachelor party, and we lost our minds when that happened. That was the first time that the Badgers had been back to the Final Four since 2000. Mike Kelly and that crew. Man, that was fun. I remember exactly where I was for that one, too. But, yeah, Las Vegas. I remember walking into the Aria, I think. It's Las Vegas. It was foggy.
Yeah. You think? Not sure.
I remember walking in a Wisconsin T-shirt, and I stuck my hands in the air, and that's all I got.
That was it. But you remember it was a good time. Remember you were there for it.
I knew where I was when the Badgers made it back to the Final Four. Really, that's the message, right? Is where were you in that moment where you have this amazing Wisconsin memory? I couldn't tell you, I mean, without reading, right? I couldn't tell you what play it was, how it happened, what I would have to rewatch it and go, oh, yeah. We call it the graze, Josh. When you've had a couple 2-3 cocktails where you're at a point where you're like, oh, boy, I should probably go home. And then you don't. You're in Las Vegas and you go out instead. What happened before said moment is a little foggy sometimes. That's kind of that moment for me, but by far my favorite moment. And there's so many to choose from and so many coming in on the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line. Many people going, hey, bud, it was Arizona. Yep, got it. Came back around to it. My head was stuck in the Final Four mode with Kentucky.
Yeah.
And man, did we owe them one from that year prior. Obviously, them beating us in said Final Four the year prior and then us beating them, which I believe, if memory serves me right, knowing full well that y'all are going to correct me either way.
Correct.
Kentucky was undefeated when we beat them in the Final Four.
Yeah. They were undefeated. Yeah. I mean, Jim Nance, the call of him saying there will be no undefeated team in the national championship.
Jim Nance, Grant Hill, and onions.
Yeah. They literally that was the added juice. It was that all of the hype nationally was about what Kentucky was doing. It was not just a matchup of 1 versus 1 seeding wise. It was this Kentucky team's undefeated and they took care of the Badgers last year. And then the Badgers went and returned the favor. And that's what made it so sweet.
The 920 says the Bronson Koenig buzzer beater. That's JB in the 920. He's talking about Koenig's buzzer beater versus Xavier in 2016. The game winner at the Horn. Wisconsin won that game 66-63.
Didn't we play that earlier, like within a couple weeks?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because that was the most recent past buzzer beater.
Yeah, that was
the one in Minnesota?
2016, right?
Crazy.
When we had that one in Minnesota, that's
right.
what I believe Matt LePay said on that radio call, which we'll talk to here in about 10 minutes, by the way. Matt LePay joins us at the top of the next hour here on Inside Wisconsin Sports. Been listening for a couple weeks now. Keep up the strong work from the 414. Appreciate that.
Hey, thanks.
920 also says, this is JB, all of the Greg Steemsma dunks are his favorite moments. Of all the dunks, Steemsma? No offense, Greg. 262, Eric and Racine beating Purdue to go to the Final Four in 2000 when I was in college at Whitewater. I was at Bristol Motor Speedway watching that game on a screen the size of my face with an antenna and in a camper. I was 16 years old.
Nice.
Watching Mike Kelly and that crew make it to the Final Four. That was outstanding. I have 3 favorite moments, says Jeff in Fox Point, that I saw live and in person with the Badgers basketball team. Number 1, Wisconsin over Kentucky and Indy in the Final Four in 2015. We talked about that one. That was Josh's.
Yep.
Number 2, the Wisconsin comeback win over Oregon at the Bradley Center in the second round in 2014. And 3, Wisconsin comeback win over Richmond in the first round at the Bradley Center in 2004. Nothing will ever beat Kentucky. And if they win it all, like they should have against Duke in 2015, stupid refs and Grayson Allen. Never forgiven him for that, by the way.
I mean, that's fair.
My favorite memory from the 920 is when Ben Brust hit a half-court shot to send the game into overtime and then beating number 3 Michigan. I was at the Kohl Center for that one. There's also another buzzer beater from the NCAA tournament. I can't remember who shot it, but it was somebody turned and looked right at Rogers and did the championship belt.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
I do.
Somebody
I don't think it was
help us.
Was it a buzzer beater? I think it wasn't that to send it. Was that
the one that he was just talking about?
Was that the one
I thought it
against
was in the
Florida?
tournament, though.
I thought it was that was to send it to overtime. I don't think that was to win the game. It was like a mid-range. I thought he made it, turn, looked right at Rogers, did the belt.
Yeah, and Rogers got a lot of flack because he wasn't wearing red. I remember that yesterday, too. And he said, I love the Badgers. I love Wisconsin. I love this. I love that. And I don't wear red. That's because Cal and Stanford have a thing. It's amazing how we can pop into the old memory bank and remember stuff like that. But you asked me what I had for lunch yesterday. I'm going to be like, Quick Trip hot bar, chicken sandwich, and I think Parmesan garlic wings. There you go. See, that took me forever. Yet I knew exactly why Rogers didn't wear red. So dumb.
Hey, if they have a hot bar, does that mean that Quick Trip is a supper club?
There's a salad bar, too.
So there's a supper club.
They don't have fried fish.
Oh, is that a requirement now?
Pancakes. They don't have steak. They have nothing on a supper club. Is Culver's a supper club?
You tell me. My understanding from you is that if they don't have a super salad bar, it's not a supper club. So
they also need alcohol and old fashions. We've had that conversation.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
Zach Showalter, they played Florida, lost.
There you go.
So that was the game that we were talking
about. It was overtime. Yeah.
You know what? Why don't we stop trying to remember and ask the guy that was there?
There you go.
Matt LePay, the voice of the Wisconsin Badgers, scheduled to join us next. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Crowd is here, about to blow, waiting for me to stop the show. Out the curtain, lights go up, I'm home. Whoa!
The Killer Bees backcourt duo is really the engine that drives this Wisconsin team. When you have two guards that can create for themselves and for others, you have something.
Look at the Blackwell low on the left, powers it up and in. That was a thing of beauty from Boyd to show himself. Boyd takes one, down the lane, layup good with the left hand. Step back three left corner. John Blackwell doing a little work. First layup is good. Blackwell open three, right side, yes sir. He steals the inbound pass, and Blackwell lays it in. Driving on him, right lane line, throws it up and in and one.
I love Nick Boyd. I love John Blackwell.
What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in Inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, the Killer Bees, on Wisconsin basketball. Who better to tell us all about those Killer Bees and so much more for the first time on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Friend, program, the man, the voice of the Wisconsin Badgers, Matt LePay. Matt, it's so good to see you. Thanks for coming on, man.
How we doing, boys? It's been a minute.
It has
sure has.
It's nice to see you taking a little time, it appears, at the cabin in the Northwoods to take a break before March gets nuts, and February, frankly. The rest of that's going to be nuts, too. So how are things with you just from an overall – do you still got gas left in the tank, man? Because you've been going since the fall.
Yeah, I had to come up here and make sure it's still a cabin and not an igloo. I think this time last week it was 35 below up here in the northern reaches of Wisconsin. It's a mere 1 below, I think, when I woke up this morning. So flip-flops, T-shirt, flip-flops, gonna get the grill fired up, and now we're good. It's a little break, and I think much more importantly for the players. I was talking to Greg Gard after their win on Saturday against Ohio State. I said, "Look, if you won 7 out of 8, people would say, keep going, man. You don't need a rest." And he said, "Yeah, they probably do. I mean, they've had some bumps and bruises like everybody, so it's a good chance to take a breath and then get ready because now it's the final push." Starting Saturday and whenever their season ends, and hopefully that's many, many weeks down the road.
Matt, you have been there for the entire time that Greg Gard has been in charge of this team, and there's been a lot of coaching talk across the state about the coaches of professional and collegiate teams that we have. Pat Murphy, I think the state is pretty good on, but then next under him right now, I think, is Greg Gard, and that hasn't always been the way. And that way, a lot of people have wanted him to be out and now are celebrating what he's doing with this team. Can you talk a little bit about just Greg Gard's journey and how the entire school and the fan base have their feelings on Greg Gard right now?
Yeah, I think, Josh, first within the industry, he's really highly respected. I mean, he took over when Bo stepped down in the middle of December of 2015 and did a great job because that team wasn't playing particularly well at that time, and he got things turned around. And you're right, there is the up and down nature of how fans view a coach, and they lose a couple in a row, then the fire Gard crowd comes out, and then they're playing well as they are now. You don't hear from that crowd. I do think, Greg has done this long enough that he's starting to speak his mind on some of the topics in college athletics a little bit more. I would say he is semi-filtered, not all the way unfiltered. But I think his reputation as a coach and being able to, stick to some old school principles that he's always had and learned a lot from Bo, obviously, but he's embraced what's happened in college athletics. He's been able to, use the portal. They've used the resources that they have. It reminds me in a lot of ways of the Brewers. You do the best with what you have, even though you're not matching up dollar for dollar with in college athletics, the blue bloods, or in the Brewers' case, the Dodgers, the Yankees, et cetera, et cetera. But they've hit on the portal, and yet there's still that core group, a little smaller core group this year, but you've got guys like Nolan Winter, John Blackwell, guys like that. So and they've changed their offense over the last few years too. So he's evolved, and yet there are still, as he would say, the non-negotiables if you want to have playing time. So, and I think the fans in well, lots been going on over here, guys, as you know, football's been struggling, and to put it mildly, but basketball, man, they're always there, and they win their share of games. It gets people excited, and hopefully they're back on a path to get into the NCAA tournament.
Matt LePage joins us on Inside Wisconsin Sports. Matt, you brought him up. Blackwell dabbled with a potential NBA, like bye-bye, see you later, but then decided to come back to Madison. What has that meant for this team? And now, along with Boyd, those are those killer bees.
Yeah, I think with John, it was a great exploratory exercise he went through, just getting feedback from the NBA folks. I don't think he was on any mock drafts, a year ago, and it was just you get the feedback from the NBA types. We'd like you to do this, this, and this a little better. And he'll tell you he just needs to be an all-around better player, and he's becoming that for sure. And I think with those two guys, I wonder how many combinations have been called the killer bees, by the way, through the years. Did the Miami Dolphins, like way back in the day, they had something like that? But
I play in this beer league softball tournament up here in Northeast Wisconsin, Matt. There's a team called the Killer Bees. I wasn't going to send a cease and desist to Wisconsin, but I mean, it's already taken, boys.
I think taken by many through the years. I think it was fair to say that it has taken some time for those two guys to mesh, understanding what each can do on the floor. But it is also clear that it's happening now. And I think they have 8 newcomers on this team, 4 transfers, 4 freshmen, and they've all played. And I think which that's a high number for Wisconsin, just 6 returning players. So it makes sense that it would take a little while for everybody to understand how to play off of each other, both ends of the floor. But I think those two guys are really starting to shine. I mean, beyond the statistics, the nearly 20 points a game, each of those guys, but they both have the ability to make big shots. Both are ultra competitive. And the thing about Boyd is he's been in big moments. He's been on a Final Four team. He's made big shots in March Madness. And John Blackwell has a little bit of a clutch gene himself. So those two are a lot of fun to watch. And I think just they play with more pace now. And I just think for the general college basketball fan, it's a lot of fun to watch too, because you're going to see more possessions, and they're scoring 80 plus with regularity and 90 plus more than we've seen. So people like offense, and with this team, you get a fair amount of offense.
Matt, do you think that is kind of the secret sauce in this team that can push them to finally get back to the Sweet 16? It's been a minute since they've been there.
Yeah, it's been since 2017. And to your earlier question, that's where the nature of college basketball, many view it as a 1-month sport. It isn't, but for the casuals who come in and they get beat in the first or second round, it's like, see, look at these guys. This is a team, though, I think there's going to be probably a bit of random nature. There always is in the NCAA tournament, or at least most of the time. This team shoots a lot of threes. More than half of the overall shot attempts are from the 3-point line. They like to shoot threes and get to the rim, dunks and layups. They really don't like the mid-range game. So it looks great when the shots are falling, and they've had a fair amount of games of late where that's been the case. But you always get a little nervous. And Wisconsin's one of many, even in the Big Ten, that Indiana does, Illinois does, the next 2 opponents. But you get in these environments, neutral environments in an NCAA tournament, it's going to be worth watching to see. But that's the trend now. We're seeing a little bit of that NBA style in college basketball. You don't see a lot of the 10 to 15 footers. So, but I do think, Josh, when this team, and Greg's mentioned this a lot, its best is really, really good. Its best is the team that went into Ann Arbor, made 15 threes, and beat Michigan. Its worst is pretty bad. Sometimes we've seen it in the same game, like Minnesota last week in the first half where they had 17 points, and in the second half where they had 50 and found a way to win. But their ability to hit the 3-point shot consistently will be as big a factor as anything in how this team does the rest of February and obviously on into March.
Matt LePay joins us on Inside Wisconsin Sports. This year, Matt, for the first time since 2016, you got to call a buzzer beater for Wisconsin basketball. It's been a hot minute for that, too. What was that like up in Minnesota?
Yeah, I did a double take because there have been a lot of dramatic shots like in the last second or 2 seconds, but not one at the horn with John Blackwell. That was, both of their games with Minnesota were really, really competitive. The Gophers are shorthanded. They have a really good first-year head coach, and Nico Medved had a really good run at Colorado State. And they had come down and they had hit a three to tie the game up at the barn with like 5 seconds left. And John Blackwell, very aware, again, that clutch gene, veteran savvy, brought it up the floor, very much aware that the clock was ticking down. And it was a fairly deep three, but it was a rhythm three. And it was fun. Yeah, buzzer beaters are fun, but yeah, I didn't even realize it. I saw the note after the game. That was, it was Bronson Koenig's buzzer beater to beat Xavier that put Wisconsin in the Sweet 16. So, yeah, it has been a while, but those are always fun.
Matt, can you talk a little bit about just the mindset that separates being a fan of a Big Ten team in comparison to some of the other schools we have in the state? We talked to Doug Gottlieb from UWGB. We talk about the Milwaukee Panthers. They're both in the Horizon League. To them, you're focusing a lot on the conference itself and then also the tournament because one team is making it to the big dance. But that's not the case in the Big Ten. And it feels like because of that, as the Badgers sit tied for 5th in the Big Ten currently, it's more just seeding. They're all just worrying about seeding in March Madness. How does that mindset affect the players and everyone really when the focus needs to be on each and every game?
Yeah, it's interesting because when you're in the weeds in college basketball, at least here at Wisconsin, and I think Tom Izzo would tell you the same thing, and all the other coaches in the Big Ten, winning a Big Ten regular season championship is gold. I mean, that means the world, even though now with 18 programs in the conference, you're only playing 3 teams twice, but it's still a 20-game sample size where you are enduring, a couple, 3 months worth of conference play to win a championship. But at the same time, everybody knows that if fair or unfair, people really tend to judge you in March. So Wisconsin, like everybody else, you want to play as well as you possibly can at the end of the regular season, be as healthy as you possibly can. And yet here they are with, they have 3 losses. So they're still very much in the thick of this in the Big Ten, but they're also, Michigan, Michigan State, Nebraska, Purdue, Illinois. Those are all going to be hard teams to pass, but they're going to have their shots against. I mean, they lost big to Nebraska in December. They're going to play Purdue again. They've got Illinois coming up. Michigan State comes to Madison next week, so they're going to have a lot of chances. So I think first and foremost, Josh, it's about getting that resume as strong as you possibly can to get into the tournament, and then see if you can't catch fire. I saw this 26 years ago with a Dick Bennett team that was a 500 team in the Big Ten and then made magic. And then obviously Bo's 2 teams, which, one of them won the Big Ten regular season, Big Ten tournament, went all the way to the title game. So just stay, get hot, stay hot, and be healthy, probably reverse order, to give you the best chance to make some great memories in March and who knows, maybe early April.
Matt, is this season 38 for basketball?
It is. See, my hair gives it away. All the wrinkles.
Oh, you have hair, do you?
Well, there's
Nice.
that, but it's like what you have isn't isn't quite as blonde as mine. So yeah, it's I feel like I've seen up close more than most with this program. So and bad football too. I just finished, I think it was 31, 32 with Badger football. So I've seen the really good, I've seen the really bad, and I've seen everything in between. So it does give me a little bit of perspective.
So as the voice of the basketball team all these years, do you have moments that stick out to you that maybe we wouldn't think of? We were just reminiscing about our favorite moments attached to Wisconsin basketball. What if some are yours over the years?
A lot of it for me is just being able to maintain contact with some guys. Every now and then, Tracy Webster, who was a great guard here back in the early to mid 90s, he was part of that team that snapped the 47-year streak of not making the NCAA tournament. He was teammates with Michael Finley and Richard Griffith and those guys. And every now and then he'll just call out of the blue, and just visiting with him. And we were going down memory lane of, when Stu Jackson coached the team and that type of thing. I think of my first year, actually, I was here. It was a Wisconsin team that made the NIT, just missed the NCAA tournament. It was the 88-89 season. But they beat Illinois, a Final Four team. They beat Michigan, a team that won the national championship. Ramil Robinson, who made big free throws in OT against Seton Hall, missed a couple in the game late. And that's when you could really get a sense of how much basketball can mean here, because the field house where they played, it was deafening in there. Games like that. Dick Bennett had a team that beat Minnesota at the end of the 97 regular season. It was a great Gopher team that went to the Final Four. That was Sam Oakey and Ty Calderwood and those guys. And there was a lot of drama to that. And then there's the obvious ones with, Sam hitting the three to put him ahead of Kentucky in the Final Four, and just the whole atmosphere down in Indianapolis in 2015. So there are a lot of obvious ones, but it's a lot of other moments, just shooting the bull with a lot of those guys who played in the 80s and 90s, and just reflecting back on some funny moments through the years.
That's awesome. Matt, you brought up football really quick. We heard McIntosh said, "Hey, we found some money. We're gonna invest that money in this program. We're gonna help Luke Fickell. Luke Fickell's not going anywhere." Now we saw some of that negotiation, transfer portal, all that jazz. We've talked about it. Trevor and I have on the show. What is the overall feeling and atmosphere around the current football program?
I think with the fan base, Josh, it's let's wait and see. It looks like that they do have the resources now to at least be competitive. That was the thing with Indiana. I think it had increased resources. Did it have the Ohio State or Oregon money? I don't think so, but it had enough to be competitive, to have a chance to retain their talent and get guys like Fernando Mendoza. I think Wisconsin is in a competitive position with resources now. Exactly where that ranks in the league, I don't know. Everybody, it's all a guessing game because there's a lack of transparency. But now the question is, are they evaluating the right guys? Are they bringing the right players in here? Because this is going to be a much different looking Wisconsin team from what fans witnessed a year ago. Colton Joseph, the quarterback, Old Dominion, big numbers there. Okay, have they evaluated the right guys, and will they coach those guys to get better? Because obviously Indiana did that. Indiana evaluated at an elite level and coached at an elite level. You have to check all the boxes, though. With Wisconsin, we'll wait and see. I think Fickell he demonstrated to be a pretty good coach when he was at Cincinnati, and now you just need that staff around him, many of whom some of whom at least he's been with for a while. You need to see all of that come together, and I'm not getting on the hype train. I'm on the intrigued train with all of these guys, but I'm kind of pumping the brakes of declaring this team is going to win 9 or 10 games, and that the schedule is light because Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, and Indiana aren't on it. Wisconsin has to prove that it could beat some other teams too. So I'm very intrigued. Spring ball, and then obviously up at Lambeau in September against Notre Dame. But it's obviously a very, very important year for this program.
Matt, last one before we let you go. Very simple. Heads or tails?
Heads.
Yeah.
Oh, the fact that all three of us said heads, it's tails for sure. Bet on tails.
Okay, I will. Matt LePay, the voice of the Wisconsin Badgers. Man, we appreciate you joining us, period, let alone from the Northwoods. It's great to see you. We'll chat again soon.
Absolutely. Great talking to you guys. Take care.
Thanks so much, Matt.
Matt LePay on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Is he still behind the scenes?
Nope.
Okay, good. I can say this. I grew up with that voice.
I mean, he's the best.
He doesn't like it when I say that because it makes him feel old. But
yeah,
the most right up there. This is going to sound dumb because Matt would be like, you're out of your mind. But from a voice standpoint in Wisconsin, obviously nobody compares to Euchre, but Matt is right there.
Yep.
And then when he started doing Brewers baseball, and we played that audio earlier in the year. Remember when he called that Lorenzo Cain home run rob?
Yep. Not today.
Not today.
Incredible. Man. I love too, like, I just popped that question in there about football he brought it up. I was like, hey, I haven't talked to you about this since all this came. Love the transparency in his answer, too, right? It's not just, well, hey, I work for the Badgers. I got to toe the line. I'm going to give you it. He gave his true opinion. I think it's as a realist, I loved that realistic opinion of, I'm intrigued. I'm not hopping on the hype train, but I'm intrigued. I love it.
Matt LePay, the voice of the Wisconsin Badgers, joining us here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. So back to those Brewers baseball for a little bit. What is going all in for the Brewers? What does that mean for this coming season?
We had that come up yesterday. That was the big thing. We talked to Tim Allen yesterday, and we had you, the listeners on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line, reached out to Trevor and I and said, okay, Josh, but what you guys keep talking about this poker analogy going all in. What is that? What does that look like? What does that mean?
Especially with a change in the Brewers TV deal, which means less revenue. Yet, so we're told, and you'll hear the audio next, the checkbook is alive and well. Just how many chips are in the checkbook, I guess, is the question.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do that next. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. The Super Bowl is this weekend, yet the buzz seems blah. Why? Let's check in with former Packers fullback John Kuhn and Rami Makloff later this morning, starting at 9. It's 9 to noon with John Kuhn here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. We are inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, talking about what does all in mean for the Milwaukee Brewers. We heard yesterday that the FanDuel TV deal is done. In comes in MLB.TV and whatever that means for how we watch the games. Truth be told, cable, satellite TV, streaming, nothing's changing. But will it change the payroll for the players? Let's check in with the Prez and see what he says.
It's not a secret that, the economics with MLB Media are Brewers TV are probably less than what we were looking at FanDuel. But I will tell you, I don't anticipate, and I'm not worried about any impact on player payroll or other operations. Matt Arnold has flexibility. If there's a deal to be made to add a player that makes us better, Mark's going to say, let's do it.
I think it's really important too, when you listen to that from Rick, when he says it would have been it's less money than if they would have gone with FanDuel, but they're not worried about it. Let's take the we're not worried about it part off. They were so confident that it was time to move on from this carousel of Fox Sports, Bally, FanDuel, that they said, as a small market team, they said, yeah, we'll take less money to be off of that carousel and just go with MLB. That's a statement. That's a statement being made about however things were going to be ran or what the situation was over there. It was time for the Brewers to get off.
So less revenue, yet Matt Arnold's flexibility and opportunity remains. And apparently the checkbook is open. So how many chips are in the checkbook? We're never going to know. But what does it mean to go all in for the Milwaukee Brewers? Josh, when have they gone all in your opinion, since you've been a fan?
So there are 3 times, right? CC Sabathia, which was like the only big mid-season time that I can remember. And then you had the Christian Yelich, Lorenzo Cain, and the Greinke. I got those order wrong. Greinke was first in 2011, and then Yelich and Cain. But those 3 big times, those were the 3 big times. And I think that for Brewers fans, if you go back and you look at those teams, it was you knew you were close the year before, and then the Brewers made a big splash, and they got a guy. I think that even now, though, it's changed a little bit, and this whole thing kind of came up as we were talking to Tim Allen yesterday on the show, and you lovely listeners were texting in and talking to us about what that big splash would be. I don't think it's a free agent signing. I don't think that that's what it is. I don't think that the Brewers can be competitive at any point in doing that. It has to be that they have such a good farm system that they can trade away some of these shortstops. They don't need 4 shortstops, right? They can trade away a few of those pieces from their farm system, still keep the bites of the apple, but get a guy for a year or 2 from a team that isn't going to make it, and then help beef up that team's farm system. That's the only way to really, for the Brewers to have that big splash.
Jason in the 920 says going all in doesn't mean you need to empty the bank account. And that's what I heard you saying, Josh, with those big splashes. That really wasn't a major impact to the bank account. I think about CC Sabathia. That was a 2-month rental. No different than Trayvon Diggs with the Packers. How much we pay him to ride the pine for 1 game? Something like was it $500,000 or something like that?
Yeah.
So there's a difference between rental and building the farm system. And there's somewhere in between of paying those guys to get them to stay, #Jackson Churio. Yet so many people would look at the Brewers and go, but we're never going to spend the money. Well, what does all in mean for the Brewers then? Like, is the farm system, to your point, that we do such a good job of building up and dedicating time and effort and resources to making those guys into who they become, is that going all in?
No, it's not.
Why?
That's sustainability. The farm system and having what you have, that's sustainability for years to come.
They have the best farm system in all of baseball. So it's not just sustainability because they do it better than anybody else. Sustainability is the last team with the worst farm system. That's sustainability because they have to have it. Why if the Brewers have the best one?
It's sustainability because they're continuing to build the future and they bring the pieces up, not all at once, years by years as those players are ready, and then they replace them in the farm system. It's a pipeline to keep the team competitive, to keep those bites of the apple, and then when those guys' contracts are up, then they trade them for more pieces to get the farm system. That's the sustainability. That's the pipeline. The difference is right now, the Brewers were the number one team in all of baseball last year, and they made it to the NLCS. That's the time where you go, okay, is it possible for them to keep that pipeline intact, not lose the bites of the apple, but trade some of the pieces away to where maybe you don't have the best farm system. Maybe now you have the 7th best farm system, but you traded away some pieces to be able to get that piece that then makes that big splash, gets everyone excited like they did with Greinke, and goes, oh my gosh, this team is going for it. They're pushing the chips in. That's what we're waiting to find out. That's what a lot of people were frustrated with the Freddie Peralta move being, is that the Mets kind of made that splash. The Mets went, okay, we have a good farm system. We're going to move these two guys, get a Freddie Peralta to make this move now. Brewers fans are sitting here going, all right, now we got all these pieces in the farm system. We have a lot of good players. We won 97 games. Can we make a big splash to push chips in now? It's not going to come from signing a guy for $33 million a year. I can tell you that.
On Milwaukee. All in for me looks a lot like it did for last season. The Brewers did everything they possibly could to become the best team in baseball, have the right guys up at the right time. All of the development, the rookies, the trades, I mean, you're starting to see that come together with this team. The hard part about the way some people look at baseball is dollars and cents. There was a comment earlier on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line about guys like Tucker and Bichette and Bregman. I mean, unlike the Packers who say they're in all of these conversations, that's just not the case for the Milwaukee Brewers. So all in looks different for them than all in for the Dodgers looks. And that's why I think back to some of the moments where I would think we went all in. You mentioned Greinke in 2011, but what about Mike Moustakas and Jonathan Scope? Like, those are years where I go, okay, we made the moves to do everything we could to put ourselves in the best positions. But that's not all in for a lot of Brewers fans because it didn't come along with a huge price tag.
Yeah, but it wasn't just about the price tag. It's not like we traded prospects away for Greinke. We just knew, holy crap, we just got like a Cy Young winning pitcher in Milwaukee. I think that there are levels of these moves. What moves are holy crap level and what moves are, okay, the team got better level? The Moustakas and Scope trades, those were, okay, maybe the team got better level trades. The Greinkes were, holy crap, this team just got better. That's the difference. And I think that the majority of the fan base knows what those are. And then the flip side of it is the Brewers organization is so damn good at getting guys like an Andrew Vaughn, like guys that we go, oh, who's this? This is apparently the best the Brewers can do. And then they go out and make the team they were on before look like fools.
1981, 1982, the trade that made Milwaukee famous. The blockbuster deal with the St. Louis Cardinals that brought in Ted Simmons, Raleigh Fingers, and Pete Vukovich. That is the best example in Milwaukee Brewers history where all in literally led them to the World Series. We all thought CC Sabathia was the year that was going to be the most comparable to that, and probably on paper it was, but I wasn't alive back then, yet statistically speaking, you can look at a piece of paper and go, okay, that worked.
I think this is interesting from the 954. This is Ryan and Landon, who said, I have to wonder if maybe the Brewers are trying to wait for the Dodgers window to start to close. It will happen eventually. If you go all in right now while the Dodgers window is wide open, they're just going to keep running into the Dodgers. that if that's the case, you're saying that the Brewers are the second best team in the majors. Like, that's what you're saying. Is that it? I'm telling you right now, if you fully believe that the Brewers are the second best team in all of baseball, and the only team standing in their way is the team with the most payroll and essentially an all-star team, that's your window. You're
There's
the
a lot of
second
people
best
that
of the
believe
team.
that. We've actually had people associated with the Milwaukee Brewers that say if there's a salary cap that gets put on this thing, and again, we all know that's looming. The CBA expires in December, and what this looks like for teams like the Brewers and the Dodgers moving forward is we have no friggin' idea. But there's a lot of people that would say if something like that gets put in place, the Milwaukee Brewers run away with this thing for all the reasons that we've just talked about. The farm system and the development and not needing to pay somebody a gazillion dollars to make a way and go forward. The best team in baseball last year.
Mm-hmm.
Lots to be said about that.
The 920 says, who's to say they don't make that splash at the deadline? I think it makes sense to wait and see how the first half of the season goes and use a couple prospects on a rental if need be. The team should be good enough to be solid in that first half. That's just not what the Brewers have done. I heard Sparky talking about this on Wisconsin Sports Daily yesterday, of the only time when you can really think of Brewers making a splash at the deadline was with Sabathia. Otherwise, a lot of their stuff, they're either shipping guys out at the trade deadline or they're getting them before the start of the season and letting that chemistry build in the locker room. They're just not a team that usually goes all in at the deadline. Just hasn't been that way anyway.
Not many times, to be honest. And maybe this would be something where if we do get back there, instead of trading away Josh Hader at the end of the year, we actually do the opposite and bring in somebody like him to help us get to the next level. We'll see. It's the last week between now and the end of October that we are living without Brewers baseball, and that is something to celebrate. So it's fun to dream. What does all in look like for the Milwaukee Brewers in the 2026 season? I know what Poking a Bear looks like. We're going to do that next when we get back. Rami Makloff from 9 to noon joins us. We are reminiscing about the 4 Super Bowls that the Packers have won leading up to this weekend's Super Bowl. And the audio that we're about to play for the Bears fan next is what the first Super Bowl victory sounded like. He's probably never heard it. Let's be real. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Wisconsin, make sure to catch the full episode of Inside Wisconsin Sports whenever you can, frankly, whenever it works for you. We're live on YouTube and Twitter. You can find the entire show there. You can go to wisportsradio.com, find the show there. Or you can open up your favorite podcast platform and type in Inside Wisconsin Sports, and poop, there we are. Click follow, and you'll be able to catch up however you so choose, whenever you so choose. We're Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, joined now by our guy Rami from 9 to noon with John Kuhn, trying to help Rami understand what a Super Bowl victory sounded like prior to 1985. I doubt you've ever heard this. This is the final call of Super Bowl I.
The clock is running with 20 seconds to go. The Packers out in front by 25 points, and this is the first Super Bowl. 10 seconds to go. The Packers standing around, not willing to get off another play necessarily. The Kansas City Chiefs are willing to walk to the sideline, and the Kansas City Chiefs, many of them, are walking toward the Green Bay Packers. Cheryl Hedrick shaking the hand of Bart Starr. All of them have come over and are talking to the Packers. That's the end of the game with the final score. Green Bay 35 and Kansas City 10. We'll be back in a moment with the final wrap-up of today's game.
Rami, my favorite part of that is that announcer made it sound like the Chiefs were like, "Ah, to hell with it."
Yeah, like whatever, guys. You guys win. I want to go home. This is over. He didn't even sound that excited.
No.
that the Packers just won the Super Bowl. But
well, it's because the missus is going to have supper on the table soon. We all got to get home.
That is true. That is true. But I'm guessing they just didn't. The magnitude of the Super Bowl wasn't what it is today.
Oh, not even close.
It was a brand new thing. So it was just like, ho-hum, they just won a Super Bowl. Now a team wins the Super Bowl, and the play-by-play announcer has to damn near kill himself with the final call. You know what I mean? Like,
breathe, buddy, breathe.
Yeah, exactly.
That was
hilarious.
That's the only Super Bowl that was simulcast on two networks at the same time, CBS and NBC.
Really? I
To
did
which
not know
all of
that.
them were like, maybe we want to pay for that next time.
Yeah. Did that become a valuable commodity, the Super Bowl, Trevor? I don't really follow these things. Did the Super Bowl become a valuable
as a Bears fan, I wouldn't expect you to.
No, there it is. There it
well
is.
Played. Well
Bazinga.
played.
Yeah. Well, it depended what the missus was making for dinner. They were like, no, beef stroganoff. All right. Nope. Super Bowl. Let's do the Super Bowl.
Speaking of dinner and the Super Bowl, do you guys? What do you guys do? Have you already talked about this? What do you do for the Super Bowl? Is it a big day in your homes?
Josh, what do you do?
Usually we just end up at someone's house. It's very small. If the Packers aren't a part of it, I don't really make a big deal out of it. I honestly, being in this business, usually have spent it trying to be with as little amount of people as possible so that I can make sure I'm hearing everything, because you don't get breaks during commercials.
Kind of the same way
with the Super Bowl. When it's the Super Bowl, it goes to commercial. Everyone starts talking. I go, quiet. I got to hear these commercials so I can talk about them on the radio.
I'll tell you guys my worst Super Bowl experience here real quick. And my brother's not listening. He only listens when I'm on in Chicago, because what does he care about what I say about Wisconsin sports? You know what I mean? I went to my brother's house for the Super Bowl, and like there were a lot of the food was great. The food was awesome because the Macloffs understand food and the importance of it. So that part he hit. Like he nailed that. But the layout, like the TV was really far away from the couch, so people kept on walking in front of the TV and getting in the way of it, and like people would literally stand in front of the TV, like just stop and stand in front of the TV and have a conversation, and that's really annoying. And then one of my sister-in-law's friends, she's one of these conspiracy theorists, for like 15 minutes she's talking to me about halftime show conspiracies and trying to show me videos of like Jay-Z and Beyonce giving Illuminati signs at halftime.
No, that's not. Go away. That's not allowed.
It was the worst, dude. And I told my wife when we left, I was like, obviously I love my brother and the family. We're never going there for a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
ever
it was
again.
one and done.
We're never doing that. That is never happening ever. And so far, it has not happened again. We haven't been back there again. I hope he's not listening, and I'm pretty sure he's not. But
I hope he is.
Not going back to the brothers' house for a Super Bowl. That's just not happening. It was the worst experience of my life for the.
Keep talking. I'm counting how many people are coming to my Super Bowl party. I think I'm at 64.
What?
Yeah, he's doing
Trevor,
a big thing.
I could never, man. How do you
Yeah,
even
we
watch?
do it the opposite. We do it the opposite way, buddy. We throw a huge party. I think we've done a Super Bowl party for 15 years.
How do you even watch the game, though?
He doesn't.
It's not about the game. To us, it's not about the game. It's about the fun, the people, the food, the drinks, the prop bets, just getting everybody together. I mean, it's what it looks like when all of my worlds collide. Our neighborhood comes over. Our friends from church and school come over. Some people from the radio station are coming over. Like, it's just Amanda, my wife, is the best host, and I would put her up against anybody.
I would too. If you're having 64 people at your house.
Yeah, plus if everybody comes that got invited, there's a reason I had to completely redo the garage. I'll put it that way. Like, we have a heated garage. What day is it? Tuesday? Oh man, I gotta leave a check. I'm getting the garage insulated tomorrow morning. We have a heater, a little electric fireplace. I bought green turf. Like, it's the real deal.
How many different rooms or areas will you have the game on a TV?
3.
Okay. The garage, the living room, and the basement?
The basement will have some TV set up, but that's usually where the kids go and plug in all their games and stuff.
Sure.
Our basement isn't finished yet because I spent all that money on the garage. So
on the garage.
maybe that'll happen in the summer.
Yeah.
Trevor, can I be real? That's only slightly 64, and you're saying it's more than 64. That's slightly fewer people than we had at our wedding, man. Like, how do you even know?
Take one guess how many people were at our wedding. If this is the way we do things.
300.
No way.
That's crazy.
You gotta give me time to guess.
350. It was the best, and people still to this day, and I'm not blowing smoke anywhere because we were the bride and groom. We had nothing to do with it. People come up to us and go, that was the best wedding we've ever been to.
Yeah.
Is Goody going to be at your party?
No. We had a flippy cup table set up. We had beer pong set up. Like, our wedding was phenomenal.
Yeah, people have told us our wedding was not the best wedding they've been to, the best party that they've been to, which was really our intention, was to not make it this like stuffy thing that's really all about us. Just a vehicle for everybody to have a good time. Good food, good music, dancing. Everybody, it was a great.
You mean like
time.
a wedding?
Yes,
like what a wedding is.
No, because the food is often not great at weddings. I'll be real with you. Food is often not great at weddings.
Family style is the way to go if you can figure it out. Yep. My wife, by the way, in real time, just texted me and goes, "We're at 60."
60? Okay,
she didn't know. She didn't know.
That was her going, "Wait a minute." Well, she was sitting right next to me when all of the text messages that she was included on went out on Sunday. And the vast majority of those people said, "Yep, we'll be there." So if you add up all those adults and all those kids, I was told there would be no math, but I stopped counting at 64. Now, will they all be there at the same time? No. But people will come and go. They'll leave early. They have kid stuff, whatever the case may be. We're excited for the Super Bowl, but it sounds like some people aren't. I know that's a hot topic on your show next, so stick around. 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff coming up next here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Those studios powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Josh and I are back tomorrow morning here on Inside Wisconsin Sports. Have a good Tuesday, Wisconsin. We'll see you tomorrow.
Because we're not done yet.